Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Cruella. This is a donation reward from Venom0027. And you know that because I would probably not be ever even watching this otherwise. Um, I don't like when Disney, this is more, I guess, in the recent years and all, when Disney has been trying to give backstories to these villains and trying to make them likable and like sympathetic and whatnot. They did this with Maleficent and everything, and they're doing it with Cruella, and I don't like that. We don't need these tragic backstories for these villains. We don't need to be sympathetic for them. In fact, the reason they worked so well in their respective movies is because they weren't sympathetic. By making them sympathetic, by giving them these backstories, it harms their overall character. Cruella de Vil was so effective because she was a bitch. She was an uppity, dog-hating bitch. That was what made her so effective as the villain for 101 Dalmatians. Maleficent was such a great villain for Sleeping Beauty because she was a petty bitch. Giving them these backstories hurts them. It takes away what made them such great villains. Trying to make them sympathetic, I'm fine with having villain redemptions in different media and whatnot. I'm fine with having sympathetic villains, but don't take a villain that already exists and is great because they're not sympathetic and make them sympathetic. Don't do that. Don't take a villain who's already great and try to make them sympathetic when the fact that they're not sympathetic is what makes them great. That's Next they're going to try to do this for Jafar or something, or Ursula. And it's like, just don't. Stop. Stop now. Do not do this. So you may be wondering, if I have such this strong view on this, why did I agree to react to this as a donation award? Well, as I've said in the past, I will react to anything that you guys suggest to me, pretty much, as long as I haven't seen it. So I'm not just going to deny someone their opportunity for a donation reward and their choice for wanting to see me react to something just because I personally don't want to watch it. There's only a couple things that I probably would never agree to. I reacted to Teen Titans Go to the movies as a donation award, so think about that. But that being said, I don't expect to like this movie. In fact, I expect to hate it. I'm going into this expecting to hate it, just based on its concept alone. And also being said, I do know the twists. I know the big twists of the movie. And I know like the big motivation that's given for the character as well. And I found those out before I was ever donated for reacting to this. Donated to for reacting to this. So it's not like I found that out after the fact. I already knew about that when it was suggested as a donation reward. But I don't have hopes for this film. no matter how great the actors are that are in it, I don't have any hope for this film. And I know that might sound disappointing. I know that might sound like a reason to just not even react to it in the first place. But again, if someone chooses to have me, if someone donates to have me react to something, I'm going to react to it. And plus, it's not like it'd be the first time I've watched a bad movie, whether on the channel or not. But also, I've I've in the past watched bad movies purely for the sake of watching bad movies. I have some friends who we would do like these bad movie nights and purposefully watch bad movies to make fun of them. And so that's kind of how I'm going into this. I expect to hate this film, but I'm going into it kind of for the point of making fun of it and seeing just how ridiculously stupid and just bad it is. um, so I apologize to anyone who might want to see like a more sincere reaction to this. This isn't gonna be that. I mean, I'm still gonna like go through it and like react as I normally would. I'm still gonna be myself. I'm not gonna like over exaggerate myself or anything. But at the same time, I'm also not going to like pretend that I'm enjoying this or anything. I'm going to be honest about what I think of it, and it's not going to be good. So I'm just telling you that right off the bat. Um, and again, knowing the twists, I won't say what they are in case anyone else is going into this blind. But I will say that the twists are really fucking stupid. They're really fucking stupid, really bad, and just do not work in any sense of the word. And I doubt knowing the context behind it all through seeing this film is going to change that. They're that bad. And you could say that blatantly stereotypical too. They're so like generic ass ridiculous. Anyway, we're going to just get into this, get this over with, and again, see how absolutely dumb this film is. And keep in mind, if you wish to donate for movies in the future that you think I'm not going to like or whatnot, don't just assume because I have been surprised by movies plenty before. But if you want to suggest a movie that you might have heard me say that I'm not interested in or I don't think I'll like, feel free to suggest it as well. Because even if it does end up being something I don't like, it might be a fun experience to react to it just to see how bad it is anyway. Sometimes a bad movie night can be fun, you know? It can still be an enjoyable experience even if the movie itself is terrible. But we're just going to get into this, see how it goes. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, before I get to this stuff, I was confused about the song Feelin' Good during the reaction. They played the Nina Simone version, which actually wasn't the original version. The original version was by Cy Grant, but it was very different. Nina Simone is the one who kind of popularized the version we know nowadays. But the reason why I didn't think it sounded impactful and powerful enough is the version I know the most is actually the Michael Bublé version. which is much more impactful and powerful in its delivery than Nina Simone's, which was a little more held back. And not that Nina Simone's is bad. It's just I feel like Michael Bublé's would have actually fit more with this movie. So that being said, I went into this, as you know, expecting to hate it. Because of what it is. And because of the three big story beats, twists, whatever you want to call them, that I did know about. And coming out of it, having now seen it, I can say that, let's put it this way. If this film were its own separate entity that had nothing to do with 101 Dalmatians and Cruella de Vil and all that, if all of that stuff that connected it to that were taken out, it would be okay. Not good, but serviceable. It would be to a point where it's like, I can see the quality to this, but it's not something I would say is that good. With the fact that it is about Cruella de Vil, and it is, no matter what they try to say, trying to make you feel sympathetic for her, that it is trying to make you see Cruella de Vil as less of a stuck-up, dog-hating bitch and more of a, just a kind of sympathetic fashionista. Which, I mean, she was a fashionista and everything before, but still. And all the specific twists and all they made, plus the fact that the writing in this was so fucking cliche and stereotypical, all of that dragged it down. I didn't hate it as much as I expected to, admittedly. There were some good things to it. The acting on every level was fantastic. I will not argue that. Every single actor in this did a phenomenal job. And the ones I knew, of course, like, yeah, of course they're going to be fantastic. Mark Strong is always fantastic. Emma Stone, great actress. Of course they're going to be good. But even ones I don't know the actors for, like the ones who played Jasper and Horace, they did a really good job. And the actress who played the Baroness was really, she sold it very well. I will not argue that. The music, while not always fitting, was good music. The fashion was on point, and as I said in the reaction, that's something you definitely want to get right when tackling this subject. And the actual, like, direction and cinematography and just the filming of it was done extremely well. The shot composition, all of it was just really, really good. But that's about where the good stuff ends, because as I said, it was so contrived, so cliche, and so just dumb with its reveals that it was very cringy at points. It was that cliche and bad that it actually became cringeworthy. Those big three reveals that I knew about going into this. The fact that the Dalmatians killed her mom. The fact that it wasn't actually her mom, that her real birth mother was the Baroness. And just the fact that it was the Baroness who actually commanded the Dalmatians to kill her mom. All three of those big twists are so fucking bad. First off, trying to explain away the fact that Cruella is a dog-hating bitch in 101 Dalmatians by having the reveal that Dalmatians killed her parents is the dumbest fucking decision. Like, above everything else. It is so fucking dumb. The entire, this person, this animal, this entity, whatever, killed my parents, and that's why I'm bad, or that's why I'm out for revenge, or whatnot, is one of the oldest, most tired, and just again, dumbest cliches. People make fun of that cliche for a reason, because it's bad. It's not a good, there are cliches that are good or can be used well. I have never seen that cliche used well, I think. I might be wrong. I might be forgetting something, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head where I've seen that cliche used well. And this was not an exception. It was not good. The fact that the Baroness is the one who commanded the dogs, it's like, that was so obvious from the beginning. Well, when you saw that happen, it was so blatantly obvious that was going to be the case. The fact that the Baroness was her birth mother was a little, it's a little more surprising. Again, I already knew about it, but still, it would be a little more surprising. But it was still, like, if you really think about it, of course this movie's going to go there. Again, it's a cliche that's been done before. It's not like it's a new idea for the villain or the enemy or whatnot to be related to you. Even Austin Powers made fun of that trope with Goldmember, where it was revealed that Dr. Evil was his brother all along. Like, it's literally such a trope that even other movies have made fun of it. And it's like, and then there were some decisions they made for this movie that actually went against the character. Like, I understand this is when she's first truly becoming Cruella and everything. But the fact that she didn't kill the Dalmatians and that it was just a trick to make the Baroness at first think that when she came out with the Dalmatian print coat and everything. Like, no. Cruella de Vil would have done that. She would have killed them right there. Especially to go to get at the Baroness. Like, that would be the exact specific time and moment that she would do that. And the entire thing, and Cruella is a dog-hating bitch. And the dog-hating thing isn't actually an aspect in this film. Like, I was thinking, like, okay, we see that she has a dog and everything. Jasper and Horace have a dog. Somewhere in this movie, by the end, we're going to get why she hates, why she's a dog-hating bitch and everything. And, like, she's going to, like, not have her dog or something by the end. Something's going to happen to Buddy. Probably something's going to happen to Wink. Because they don't have those dogs. Unless I'm forgetting something, I don't think they had those dogs in 101 Dalmatians. I might be forgetting something. It's possible. It might just be Dalmatians she hates. It's possible. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, to be fair. But I was thinking it was all dogs. But either way, even if it's just the Dalmatians, that's not really reflected in the end. In the end confrontation hall, before Estella is pushed off the cliff and everything, she has the Dalmatians with her, and she seems fine with them and everything. And there's no real evidence that she hates them. In fact, the movie goes to kind of extreme lengths to show that her hatred is entirely for the Baroness. And it kind of paints it in a way that she has actually nothing against the Dalmatians themselves. Which does not make sense, because she very much hated Dalmatians. That's an integral part of her character. So the fact that they still have the 3 Dalmatians at the end, that were the Baronesses, the fact that she seems to be fine with them, that she didn't kill them in the first place and everything. It's just like I know this is Disney and everything, but they talked multiple times about murder in this. Hell, they even made us believe at one point that she killed the dogs. It's clear that this movie was never going to be above that kind of thing, but instead it chooses not to. When it's like that's exactly what Cruella de would have done. Jasper and Horace were exceptionally more competent in this film than they should have been, as well. Jasper and Horace were always idiots, complete and total idiots. And Horace was a bit dumber than Jasper here, but he was still pretty competent. There were a couple moments where he was caught, but it was only a couple times. We see that they've been pulling all kinds of stuff for years and years, and it's like they're doing fine. And the point is, Jasper's even like extremely like smart and clever and focused. And it's just like these don't feel like Jasper and Horace to me. And then the time period thing. Like, let me see if I can look this up real quick because that really confused me. Let me look up 101 Dalmatians. 1961. The original animated 101 Dalmatians came out in 1961. And the movie clearly reflected, if you remember, just how it looked and everything, and just the various ways people dressed and the way, like, London and all looked. It was clearly meant to be seen as of the time, right? And yet in this it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be the six or even probably even earlier than the 60s, probably more like the 50s, considering this is a prequel and everything, and presumably is notably beforehand. um which, I mean, I've seen things where it's like, okay, yeah, um we're going to modernize it and everything. I've seen that before. I'm not necessarily against that idea. I just, I don't know. I just think it felt very weird and off, considering this, again, is supposed to be a prequel to 101 Dalmatians. It's just, I just, I don't understand. Again, if this was disconnected from Cruella de Vil altogether, like if this was the same story basically, just it wasn't Cruella de Vil, it was just some other character. If it had no connection to the 101 Dalmatians story at all, it would have been serviceable, even with the extremely tired cliches. It would have been serviceable. But the fact that it is Cruella, the fact that it is 101 Dalmatians prequel, it irritates me. Because while that was never like my favorite Disney movie, I did enjoy it, and Cruella de Vil was one of the reasons. But this does not feel like Cruella de Vil. When they try to add all this unnecessary depth and sympathy and everything onto these villains, it just ruins them and just overall hurts the character. Like I said, it doesn't feel like Cruella to me. It doesn't feel like the character because in a way it's not. Her character here is just so noticeably different that it does not feel like the same character. Like she's even way more showy than she was in 101 Dalmatians and everything. And it's like the only real aspect of her that they got right was the look, the fashion focus, and the fact that she's cruel. That's literally it. Otherwise, it's not even really the same character. And that's the thing. It's like you could view this like as its own thing, but you can't. You could say like, oh, I'm going to try to view this just on its own. I'm not going to try and make the comparisons, but it's literally meant to be a prequel, so you have to make the comparisons. It's supposed to be the same Cruella de Vil, the same character. So those comparisons have to be made because they're literally meant to be. And it's disappointing. It's disappointing that this even exists. This is such an unnecessary move for Disney to do to make these movies, but the problem is people will see them. They will make money. And so Disney will be emboldened to make more of them. And that's the problem. I mean, you can still look back on the originals and still love them. But it just seems like it's just a it's not a good necessary thing to do these kind of movies. And it's not even like the Joker. With the Joker movie, it was made extremely clear that you're not supposed to sympathize with him. With the Joker movie, they made it extremely clear that you're not supposed to like him or agree with him, that you're supposed to see him as the bad guy. It was made very clear that he was not the hero of the story. And it was also made clear that it was not directly like connected to any past lore, that it was literally its own thing. So there's that as well. But with this, it's very clear that it's trying to make you sympathize with her. That even though you don't necessarily agree with all her methods, you're supposed to feel for her. You're supposed to side with her, even. And see the Baroness as like the greater evil or something. And while the Baroness was definitely fucked up, that very much minimizes Cruella de Vil's character. And again, it's just, I hate that. So again, I didn't despise this film as much as I expected to, admittedly. And most of that does come from the very strong performances of the actors, the great camera work and everything, the direction, the actual really good fashion. Like, again, all of that was great. And I really do legitimately appreciate all of that. It is definitely what kept me from absolutely hating this film more than I could. Or, yeah, more than I did. But I still didn't like it. Because from a writing perspective and on a fundamental level of its existence and having a Cruella prequel movie, from that perspective, it's like I can't reconcile. I can't reconcile that. I can't see it as anything more than stupid. and unnecessary. So yeah, yeah. Also, it was kind of boring. Like seriously, for a film that with a character that was so over the top, in terms of presentation and whatnot at points, it was really boring and felt really slow paced at times. Like I just felt like certain things could have gone by faster and more could have been happening. And there were a lot of parts where I was just like kind of checking the time. And it's like, how long is this going to go on for? The first like 12 or so minutes, 12, 15 minutes of it felt like half an hour, like double the length that it actually was. That part that really threw me off when I saw that only like 12 to 15 minutes had passed. I don't remember exactly how long it was when I checked. But it's like that happened multiple times throughout the movie where I just felt uninterested in what was going on. So yeah, better than I could have ever expected, but still not good. Which is not a surprise that it's not good. um, but yeah, like I said in the pre thoughts, if you ever want to choose a movie for me to react to as a donation reward that you think I'm not going to like, or I've said that I'm not going to like, right? And or if I've said I'm not interested in it at all, or I think it'll be bad. If you want to see me react to it, please feel free to choose. Because believe it or not, I can still enjoy reacting to a bad movie. This wasn't an entirely unenjoyable experience. Believe me, I've seen much worse movies that are actually really unenjoyable to sit through, like the Last Airbender movie. God, that I've seen that like 3 or 4 times, and I don't know why I've seen it 3 or 4 times because every time it just hurts to sit through it. That one is hard to sit through. This, I could watch this again. I don't like the film. I don't think it's good, but I could watch it again and not really have much of a problem. So if you ever, don't worry. Don't worry about whether or not you think I'm going to enjoy the movie or not. Just feel free to request anything you want as a donation reward. Again, only if and when you can. Donation rewards are optional. You don't need to do them, but if you can and if you're willing to and able to, uh, feel free to choose anything. As long as I haven't seen it, I'm willing to react to anything, even if I don't think I'll like it, even if you don't think I'll like it, because I've been surprised before. There's so many movies that we've reacted to on this channel that have actually legitimately surprised me. So yeah, um, and feel free to suggest TV shows or YouTube stuff as well. You can have me react to anything as a donation reward, pretty much. Again, as long as I haven't seen it. Even if it's something that you know I'm going to get to anyway, because I've said so or whatnot, you can have it as a donation reward, and I'll probably get to it quicker. Stuff like that. But again, only if and when you can. No pressure. It's completely optional. Just gives a little extra something to react to and a way to interact with you guys um, through these rewards and all. But that being said, tell me in the comments what you thought of Cruella, because just because I didn't like it, just because I thought it was bad, doesn't mean that I feel you have to. You can form your own opinions, and I would love to hear your thoughts on whether or not you liked it and what you thought of how the movie went. Um, so, in the meantime, though, thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you to Venom0027 for suggesting this. And again, feel free to suggest anything. Do not take the fact that I didn't like this as a reason to not suggest movies like it in the future. suggest anything because it's completely unknown as to what I'm going to think about a movie. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.